Welcome back everyone to another LEGO Star Wars review. Today we have a Rebel U-Wing fighter to review, and this is one of the newer sets that I was talking about. I wanted to review for you guys. It comes from Andor Season 2. Also, that show was amazing. If you guys haven't watched it already, make sure to go watch it. I love the show. This set is derived from that show, so if you haven't watched it, maybe a couple spoilers might come through. I feel like you should have already watched it though at this point. So I'm going to go ahead and give the U-Wing a full review. I'm super excited about this set. It's one of my favorite ships in Star Wars. So let's go ahead and unbox this. Alrighty guys, so as you can see here, we have the Rebel U-Wing Starfighter. This is an 8+ rated set, 75399, with 594 pieces. And this set will have that beautiful Cassian Andor, Dedra Miro, as well as an ISB tactical agent, which is really cool. And I think this is going to be a big figure for a lot of mocks going out. For any Imperial mocks, this is a cool figure. And then K2SO once again. So I'm really excited to see these new figures. I'm going to go ahead and show on the side here. They do put Cassian Andor there with that 1:1 scale. One of those features is going to be the wings opening up like you see with the U-Wing, which is really cool. Also some spring-loaded missiles in the center there. And then it obviously shows the cockpit opening as well as the storage area along with K2SO and Cassian Andor going against Dedra Miro and the other ISB agents. So on the back side, they do have push tabs, even though it's a larger box, so I'll go ahead and do that. And then I'm just going to make a note here, guys. I always open the box as LEGO shows with like push tabs or whatever they use. So you don't have to open your box this way. Some people keep their boxes, and if you want to keep your box, definitely don't do that, because as you can see, it bends it. I do this because this is how LEGO sells us the product. So I want you guys to see what will happen when you try and do that. Bend the box, but I don't think LEGO's intending for people to keep the boxes either. So bags actually were perfectly lined up in there. It looks like we're gonna get to 6 bags. All right, so there are 6 bags, guys, with a sticker sheet. And actually, I mean, there's a lot of mini stickers as you see there, but it's actually not a lot of stickers, which is nice. It's like 5 or 6 here, so I'm kind of happy with that. It's really cool that we only have that many stickers on this. It looks like control panels and then a little bit of coloring on the ship, so that's nice not having all of these stickers that we have sometimes. The actual manual looks pretty big here. If I had to guess, probably 180 pages maybe. Oh no, way over. So we're about 130. That is nice. So this shouldn't be too long of a build. It is only 590 pieces, so 600 pieces, and it is downscaled from the previous iteration, so I wouldn't expect this to be a large build. I'm actually kind of surprised with this many pages. On the back side here, of course, you're going to have all of the pieces that are included in this set, as well as the sets that came out during that time. Ahsoka's Jedi Starfighter, the ARC 170, the Grogu and Tram, and also the buildable chopper. So I haven't reviewed the buildable chopper or the Grogu yet. We will get to those, but I do have the other 2 sets for review if you want to go check those out. But with that being said, let's go ahead and build us a U-Wing. And we have our Cassian Andor, and Cassian Andor looks great, or Andor. The face that is on the front here, you're going to see is a very plain face, and that's kind of the face I want my Andor to see. He does have a second face I'll show here in a moment, but he has a front chest printing that is just showing his jacket over his shirt with that gray blaster. That's kind of not a Star Wars blaster. It's kind of one of those random blasters you see. And then on the back side, he has more printing, and then this is where you'll see that second face. It's more of an aggressive face, and it's you do see it sometimes in the show, I'll be honest, but it just isn't what Andor is to me. I've known him for always having that calm face, always having that plain face all the time in all of his situations. So I just let the front face be the one that I show. I do think it's awesome that we still got a second face, because there are times where he's fighting and stuff, so it makes sense. And next we have our Dedra Miro with that beautiful chest print. I think the cloak and the trench coat that she wears in the show looks great here in the Lego version. The dual molded legs, however, or actually the legs that aren't dual molded, that should have been dual molded, is my biggest gripe with the figure. I just think it looks really weird in person when you get this set. The white does not match. It also just looks weird over the black pants. I think dual molded would have been perfect here.
and unfortunately we didn't do that. The headpiece, however, looks great. It's like a hair hat piece, and it's specific to Dedra. And it's kind of funny that they made a mold for this because I don't know what else we'll get this for, and I don't think we will. So, it is a great piece nonetheless. I'm happy we got it, but I'm very surprised that they did this mold for this hat piece, and then that's probably just going to be the end of the life for that hat piece. On the back side, Dedra has another face. By the way, the front face is more of a smirk, calm face. This back face here is more an aggressive face as well. But I'm really happy that we got a Lego Dedramira. I think that this figure is still really cool. I do wish we had dual molded legs, but nonetheless, I'm happy we got her. And next we have our ISB Tactical Agent. I do really like this figure as well. And like I mentioned earlier, I think this is going to be a great figure for Mox. The ISB Agent has that Imperial hat, just like Dedramiro does. However, the chest piece and the leg printing looks awesome. Because there isn't a dual molded, I think, need here, it looks really good. And we're not making it look kind of weird with like the robes covering over black pants. I think this looks awesome because they do hold armor on them. That also comes with that shield you'll see there, that riot shield, and it is shown in Andor that riot shield is. So I do think that that detail there is really cool that they added that into the minifigure. It makes sense to add this shield into it just because it is a big part of the show. If you do watch the show, I don't want to say anything else though, but I'm really happy we finally got an ISB agent. On the backside, you will see that printing is continued. It's kind of like stormtrooper armor to a degree. They have armor in the show, and that's what it's kind of shown here on the minifigure. There is no face printing on the back of this figure, so just be aware of that. I think it would show with the hat if there were, so it makes sense that there's not. And I think that's why they dual molded Dead Ramiro's head. But the backside does not have another face print. It's really not that big a deal. It's not like a specific ISB agent you're getting here, so. And last but not least, my personal favorite minifigure in this set, and a lot of people's, is the beautiful K2SO second iteration. And my opinion, I think we're reaching a point here where there's not much you could do other than make those legs and arms bend with droids. So, really great figure. The K2SO has the arm printing with the Imperial logo on the sides. On the front there, K2SO also has that beautiful control panel with the white eyes, and I think K2SO looks great on the backside. There is a stud there. If you wanted to put something on the K2SO's back, there is nothing that goes there, obviously. There's not really anything that he wears on his back, but it would be kind of cool to do that. But overall, I really love this K2SO. I think it's a great figure. Let's go ahead and take a look at the ship. And for the beautiful U-Wing, I absolutely love the U-Wing in Star Wars lore alone. So obviously, I'm going to be a little bit biased when it comes to the set. I do think the previous iteration is better just a little bit. I used to have the previous iteration, and I don't have the minifigures. A long time ago when it first came out, I got it, and I lost the minifigures to it. But I have the parts and the ship mostly put together. But the previous iteration is a little bit bigger than this one, and I do think it suffers this one being downsized. It has the same feature here on the back that you'll see. That little button that you press on the back is actually on the first iteration as well too, and it just props open the canopy or the windshield to open up the cockpit, and I think that looks awesome. I think it makes sense because it is really hard to get it at the front. You can still pull up the windshield, and I'll show a little bit later from the side. You do get a minifigure in here. Now, this is another thing that kind of differs from the previous iteration when it comes to this is the minifigure actually when it's in there, even with the blaster, if you take the blaster out, it doesn't change this, by the way. I left it in there to show you, but he's like pretty much taking a nap back there. He's all the way laid back Andor is, and he can't really see his face from that side. Even from the side angle, it doesn't look right. It looks like he's laid back really far. The previous iteration, he can sit up a little bit more in the cockpit, which is nice. And it makes sense to why you would have the cockpit a little bit deeper. But in this situation, since there is a small bottom storage part in this set, if you tried to make the cockpit deeper, you would sacrifice space in there, and we're going to get to the space in the storage set already. So if you pushed him up, that's about where the previous iteration has him. You can't even get the canopy half closed. So it is kind of sucky that you can't put him in there. Obviously, this is, a play scale. Kids are going to be having fun with putting minifigures in there. It's not going to really change the view that they have on there. But personally, I think it looks kind of weird. Um, but I'm going to work top down for the rest of the features here. Over here on the front of the ship, you're going to see two spring-loaded missiles, and it has the same feature again from the previous iteration, where if you push these plate right here, it's going to fire both of them at the same time. and they don't go out sequential, they just go out at the same time, so just keep that in note. It is pretty easy to load them back up, and I actually like this feature a lot. Obviously, if you're trying to get the windshield open the incorrect way, you might accidentally push it. The engines back here, I think, look great, and they have the little blue translucent piece on the back to show engine thrusters, which I think looks great. There's also some greebling behind the cockpit, which looks good. As you see here, the wings that push out, they are a little bit shorter than the previous iteration, but obviously the previous iteration was not as lean as this one. So I think it looks good still the way it is and the scale that it is right now. It's just a smaller scale. And then down there, you'll see that's the hole I was talking about, or the storage area. And you see this in Andor and in Rogue One often, but it's very tight. As you can see there, there is a little bit of like a stud piece, a 2x2 stud piece there that you can actually get a minifigure to sit on. And there's a control panel there, and there's a spot for blasters to go. But I can barely get it in. Granted, my fingers are fat, very. So if you are a kid, I'm sure you can get the minifigure in there. But the previous iteration, even with my hands being as big they are, I can actually get the previous iteration and minifigures in there just fine. So I just think that the downscale was a little bit too far of a downscale in my opinion. But I still love this set. I still think it looks accurate to the scale. So they scaled everything down, not just this specific part of the ship. So it still looks fine in my opinion. You can throw in two minifigures. If you're a kid and you're playing, you're not going to worry about sitting them in the seat. I don't think. At least me as a kid wasn't worried about that. I just wanted to get the figures in the storage area. And you can throw Andor in there, and you could throw another figure in there like K2SO and just stuff them in there and shut it. It's not going to stop you from shutting it. Obviously, you would have to dump them out like that to get them out, but as a kid, you're gonna love that regardless. And I still think it's cool that they made it open and featured there. They could have just left it and closed it all up, which would have kind of sucked, but I'm happy that they at least went to try and get one figure in there. And honestly, you only have two ally figures in the set anyway, so you're gonna put one in the cockpit and one down there. Now, for the other features in this set, there is windows on those walls that open up, which I think look really cool. You can actually see through them, and you can see if you had a figure in there standing. And then on the back side, there is a little, I call it storage area. It's just showing that's where you would probably enter the ship on the back side there. You can't get obviously any figures in there or anything in there. You could put blasters in there and shut it, and then you can hold your blasters in that little bin or cabin there, I guess you could say. And on the front side, there is another windshield piece here with another opening thing. This I don't think is meant to open. You have to like slide your fingernail in there to get that to open. Again, you can probably put blasters in there, but I don't think it would look good with it being a windshield. I think it's just more for design. So I leave it like that. I think it looks good. And then obviously, lastly, I wanted to show here is that the cockpit itself, you can open without pushing the button. And this is something I was mentioning earlier. So it is still cool that they have kept that button feature in the set. I think it looks good that way, and it works good that way. I just don't know how many times the kid's actually going to press the button. They'll probably just whip open the windshield. The wings do open up like they do in the show, of course, and like the previous iteration. And then there's a little ball joint mechanism to lock them in place, which I think makes perfect sense for great swooshability. Obviously, I think there's no issue with the actual swooshability or with it locking in place. I think it looks perfect. It doesn't jiggle or anything. You could hold it by the wings. I recommend holding it right there behind the cockpit for the most stable. It's just a little sketchy when you do that with the wings. You could hold both wings probably. It would be a little bit easier, but as a kid, you're probably going to break this trying to hold the wings. So I do love this set though. I think this is a great U-Wing, and I still think it's an awesome set to pick up, maybe on sale though. So let's go ahead and give this a final review and a score out of 10.
Alrighty guys, so that's going to do it for the U-Wing set. I do really like this set. Like I mentioned, the minifigures in this set honestly are amazing in my opinion. With Dedra being a dual molded hair piece or head hat piece, I guess you could say. I think it looks awesome. I do love Andor. I think he looks good. We have a couple Andor figures now as well to go with it, I believe. And then obviously we get K2SO, which I don't actually have a K2SO in my collection at the recording of this. This is my first K2SO. I didn't get him in the previous iteration, so I'm really happy to finally have him. There is a buildable figure coming out for K2SO as well that will have his minifigure in that set, so if you're just looking for that, maybe just do that. But I really, really like this set. If I had to give this a score out of 10, I'd probably say a 9.5 out of 10. And the only reason why, personally, is I kind of wish it was a little bit bigger during the whole part of the ship. because I think it should be easier to open it up, put minifigures in there, kind of like the previous iteration was. So obviously that's not the case here anymore. It's too small to do that. You can kind of get a figure in there laying down. So that's one thing I think that kind of sucks. And for me, it makes me kind of sad because I like the idea that you can open it up and drop them out of it. And that's what they show in the show as well. So, but without that, I think this set's amazing. I think it is a pickup. I would probably wait for it to go on sale if you're not super into the show, or if you haven't watched the show and maybe you're not really into the show but you like the ship. Probably just wait for it to go on sale, and it'll be on sale soon, so I would just do it then. But overall, I love this set. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.